And hello. There are not many people here, just one, and that's fine. I didn't expect anyone to show up since I'm doing this on a Friday, the Friday after US Thanksgiving Day. And when I stream, I normally stream on Saturdays, and I'm sorry I don't stream like every Saturday. Yeah. And so I was thinking, yeah, I'll stream tomorrow. But then I thought, I've got the day off today. And what do I want to do today? I'd love to code. So I assume that there will be more people watching on YouTube, and that is welcome. If you are watching this on YouTube, do give this a like and subscribe. Hit the bell so that you get notified when I post new videos, all that good stuff. But otherwise, I think it's time to dive into code. Oh, wait, hang on a second. There we are. I'm just setting up a little bit. Okay. All right. So we're doing test-driven development in Swift. This is not an iOS app. This is just a Mac command line app. And I want to score various things I receive from folks in a survey: problems, desires, and killer features. And we TDD'd all this. It works, but there's duplicate code. And we kind of left this going, there's got to be a better way to clean this up, to refactor this. Rule 1 of refactoring is have automated tests. Rule number 2, I'm saying rule 1, rule 2. Hey, Anibalcito, glad to have you again. Glad you could join. I'm saying rule 1 facetiously. I don't mean it. These are practices, though. They're good practices. For example, another practice is always run your tests. Like before you do anything, just see where you are. Make sure you're green. Especially refactoring, you should start in green and end in green and avoid going through red. At least minimize it. So we're green. We've got this duplicate code, and I was kind of like, this is a little tricky. I'm not sure how to do this, because you see the only differences are that it takes a string. Okay, we filter. Oh, this is the difference. Over the entries are an array of weighted entries. Over the entries, and let's just bring it up so you can see it. It's got weight. That's to give me a weight, weighted answers for each of these 3 things. And so this field is different from this field, is different from this field, but otherwise it's the same. So this is what I want to refactor. And I had a couple of good suggestions from folks. Let's see if I can bring this up. The first suggestion was on a YouTube comment of the last recording. Actually, no, the first suggestion was this from someone on Twitter who said, you could do it this way. And I looked at it and thought, yeah, that's clever, because then I can score problems, put in a key path, say this is for the key path problems. That's kind of what I wanted to be able to say, key path. You know, I want this property or that property or that property. And to get there, so the tricky thing with, now I'll get to you, Ani, in just a second. Anibal, right? I'm shortening your name wrong because the Cito, I should know this. The tricky thing, the reason I can't, like, I was struggling with how do I extract this to a helper method is that we're calling filter and we're passing in a closure, and it's the closure we want to vary. It's like, can't we do a key path on this? And so that was the challenge. And here, this sort of the solution was to say, well, let's add an extension to sequence to let us dive into the element and then write a function that calls that extension. It's pretty clever. So that's option one. Let's see. This is option two. This came in on a YouTube comment, and it was, you write an extension. Here, in this other extension, it's a generic extension. You could just say, you know what, let's look for something that contains something else. Oh, and pass in a key path. This other one is saying, let's make an extension, but let's say the element is weighted entry. Now, this is interesting. This one seems considerably shorter than this one. And this goes with Kent Beck's 4 laws. 4 rules of software design. The 4 rules are, it passes tests. That's the first and most important rule. The second and third rules are, so that's the highest priority one. The second and third rules are of equal priority. One is that it reveals intention, and the other is that there's no duplication. And that's what we're trying to get to. Right now, I have code that isn't very intention revealing, and it's not, it has duplication. So that's what I'm trying to solve. But the solution I want the fewest elements. So that's why I am leaning not to this one, which was clever and interesting, and I learned from it. But I want to try this one. So we're going to try that. That is the goal. Now, thanks for waiting, Annabelle. Let me see. I have a question. I read your book, but I wonder if you have a recommendation for a testing book, not language specific, but something I can learn about testing. I bought Test-Driven Development by example, but not sure if it's good. Let's look that up. Make sure it's the one that I'm thinking of. That is the one by Kent Beck. I will make a confession here. So Kent is the person who calls himself the rediscoverer of test-driven development, not the inventor of it. In our day, he's the inventor, but and has created all the refinements about how TDD works. But he acknowledges that he draws on the wisdom of people before him, that folks were doing TDD for the space program, for the US space launches. So it's not new, but it is refined. He is the one that did it. I'm sure this book is good. This is where I make my confession. I've never read it. I can't believe it. Sorry, Kent. What I've done instead is like read other things. Particularly, I learned most of my exposure to extreme programming was here on c2.com, which was the very first first wiki site that had things about extreme programming and had lots of stuff from Kent and other people about how to do it. So, and I've since had the chance, the privilege to speak with him, learn from him. So, absolutely, where'd it go? Did I move away from it? There. You will not go wrong with this book. Though I have not read it, I'm sure I'm exposed to it. I should read it because I bet I will learn new stuff. Stuff that is new to me. So go for it, Anibal. All right, let's try this and see if it works. And I'm just going to copy and paste here to start with. First, let me paste in just the stuff from that commenter and see if it builds. And it does build. Okay. So let's have a look at what it says. Extension on a sequence where the element is weighted entry. So it's using privileged knowledge. It's not saying, excuse me, it's not saying, you know, pretend that there's this property or that property, or that rather that it's an array and we're going to search, you know, for whatever it contains. It's saying, you know what, we know it's weighted entry. Let's just use that knowledge. That being the case, we can self-reduce the weights, where 0 is the initial weight, to add up all this. All right. Weight sum. What I don't see in here is how to specify the particular property that we're interested in. So it looks like this is just a pure expression of that. Let's try it. One of the great things about having tests, and you see this especially if you work in an ensemble, that is mob programming, once you have fast tests, and especially if you start with fast tests, then rather than having great debates about what about this way or that way, and spending a lot of time discussing it, the trick in ensemble programming, where you have more than one person on the same computer, or looking at the same computer, is to say, let's try it. And then we'll see how we like it. Hey, Janos 94. Good evening to you. Wherever you are in the world. It's morning for me still. Let's try this. So let's say entries. Can I do this? We filter and then sum the weights. Hey, so that's nice. I like it. Let's try the other one. So that's that one. This one, So this is getting at the key path. So I may be able to use this extension and say the element key path contains search. All right, I wish I could copy and paste this, but since it's an image, let's see. I'll just bring it over here and let's try. So we have no idea what, oh, that's, I see. It's the same thing. Where it says entry there, you know, it's because this person wasn't coding on here. It was just like, here's an idea. All right, and we say contains by key path, where key path this is a key path in a weighted entry, and it's going to return a property that is an array of strings. And that's because that's true whether we're getting this one, or this one. They all have the same type. Okay. And search. Yeah, let's. And this should return an array of elements. Array of elements. Well, let's try it. Not a single element. And so this will be more like filter. I'm gonna start by saying element. So instead of killer features, I've never used key paths before. So it looks like we take the element and the key path just becomes an indexed thing according to the path you pass in. Contains search. So both of these together might work. Let's try this and see. I'm going to build it just to see if it's happy. Okay. And we can simplify this since there's only one. I was thinking about, here, I'll show you what I was thinking about. Saying filter the sequence, but I'm not sure I like that. And the reason I'm not sure I like that is the way I had it before. App code shows the implicit type. Here, the compiler knows that the element, that is the thing we're filtering here, the elements are weighted entries, the elements in the sequence. And so that's going to be a weighted entry, but you see this portion right here is app code showing me, app code showing me what the type is. the inferred implicit type, it shows it in sort of this ghost type or type hint. And I like that. You wouldn't see this in Xcode. If you open this in Xcode, that part there in the gray doesn't exist. It's not real. But it is real to the compiler. So why not show it as app code shows it to us? Okay, so we can say sequence I'm just reading this now to understand it. Actually, don't read it. Don't read it. Let me try entries contains, and the key path will be, how do we do key paths? Slash dot. Okay. Slash dot killer features and search for killer feature. So what I'm wondering is if I can do this, but it doesn't seem to be like this. I may not be doing it quite right yet. Score key path. Yeah, I think it hasn't. Oh, wrong slash. There. Now let's try that and see if that's any better. So that worked. The question is whether that's any better than what I have. So we've got a couple of helpers here. Now we can make some decisions about what we want, and you can weigh in with your opinions. So here's the duplicate code we see here between score problem and score desire. It's calling filter. It's filtering by whether the field contains that is that field, which is an array of string, contains a given string. Let's filter by that, and then it reduces however many of those there are. That's why it returns an array of elements, and it reduces those, combines the weights of all those. So, which way to go? How do I want to express this? Maybe it would help if I wrote it the way I wish it were. The way I wish it were. And it would be like score entries it would be kind of like this. Score the entries via the killer features, searching for this given killer feature. That's what I wish I had. It's similar, but not quite the same as what we have here. Rather than score problem, score desires, score killer feature, I kind of want to just have a single thing where I pass in the key path. and this returns the integer. That's what I wish it were. Can we do that? So, whoop. I'm taking these bits here and moving them into a helper called score entries by, something like that. I expect this will pass. If it doesn't, if that didn't, I'd probably would have to get back out, not do a whole lot of analysis, but just try to figure it out. All right. So how's that in terms of expressiveness? Remember, what I want to do is get at the design rules here. It passes the test. We are resolving duplication, but I want it to be really intention revealing. I want it to read really well from the point of view of the caller. I'm a little shy of extensions I have a preference for functions where you pass in the thing over extensions. So instead of this, let's see. If you have any opinions, jump on in. There's only one of you still hanging out, and that's fine. How do I want it? Score killer feature. Let's see, score. Entries by killer features. Kind of want to rename that. Searching for. Once I have this, I'm not sure I need any of this anymore. Maybe I can I inline this? I don't think I can. So, staying in green. This is no longer used. I confirmed that by deleting it and rerunning. And then this is no longer, this only has one thing, so I should be able to take that. I think I've ended up with the method I want via help from other people. One showing me how to work with key paths, and the other suggesting, all ideas fold together. And in Ensemble Programming, if we were actually in the same place, these days it would be in a chat. Actually talking, not an async chat, not like we have here, but actually talking in real time about, oh, try this, try that. Then we would have gotten here even faster. But let's see if I say entries. Hang on a second. I got a little confused there in terms of coding and talking at the same time. So this is what I want to do. I want to filter this, and that's the same as contains. So now I believe I have a single method, and I can get rid of this extension. Again, I tend to not use extensions a lot. Sometimes I like them. Let's reformat this so we can see what's going on. We filter and reduce. Ah. Oh, Janos, I'm glad you're enjoying this. It's not a problem at all. Right now, it feels like a private stream, and it's amazing that you spend your time. I hope it's interesting. Again, if you hear me, I'm saying ensemble, 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 and that's because that is honestly the best way I've encountered for how to code. Async is simply not as effective. And this especially includes working in pull requests. Pull requests are for people you don't know or trust or are not part of your organization, so they might not know like what your goals are or your overall vision or how things should fit together. Pull requests are great for open source contributions. Pull requests are not great for a team that's working together. What do you do instead? Actually work together. That's ensemble programming. All right, so we've got score. I'm just looking to see if I can make this any clearer. Score the entries. Oh, look at that. The entries, I don't need to pass in the entries because the entries are a property. Okay, first let me, I've got this in a good place. Let me first note this as a refactoring. This is a test-supported procedural refactoring, so it's safe. So I'm going to say something like that, and commit that. Now I can play with other things, like why should I pass in the entries when it is already available to a method? What if I just say, you know what? Actually, let me do this properly. What is the refactoring? Change signature, command. Here, I'll do it here. Change signature. Here's something you don't get from Xcode. I want to say, get rid of this. Remove that one. And I expect this will still pass. Cool. Score. All right, let me commit that. I wonder if it was automated, but it's just a test-supported procedural refactoring. So simplify, or don't pass in like that. Janos, from my perspective, for the last 2 years, I'm a contractor who works for my company, clients, which have contractor from many companies. And honestly, I don't feel lack of PRs. It would be a huge mess. Oh, you mean, so to get rid of them, it would be a huge mess. So that would be actually a problem that getting rid of PRs would reveal, is that you're not actually a team. I'm talking about actually being a team. And that means having trust in each other, and that means having automated tests, and that means having a fast build system and doing real continuous integration. Most of what people call CI is kind of, it's not ideal CI. It's not ideal continuous integration because it's not continuous. In continuous integration, you run your tests. If it's green, you push. But you don't do that solo. You do that together as a team. That's the difference. So all these parts have to fit together. Don't say, John says no PRs, let's stop doing PRs, because what that will do is it will reveal more pain. It will cause pain, and those pains reveal problems. There are ways to avoid those problems by learning how trunk-based development works. That is the term to look for. Trunk-based development. Oh, there's a trunkbaseddevelopment.com. I don't even know what that is. Let's go have a look. All right, that looks like a good, I can tell right off the bat that it's a good summary. Oh, looks fairly extensive. Go check out trunk-based development. Again, I don't think this will work with solo developers. By that, I mean people coding by themselves and then submitting the code. No good. Trunk-based development, this all comes back to extreme programming, which is where TDD comes from and where refactoring comes from. Pair programming came from extreme programming, and ensemble programming is pairing with more than two people, basically. It's pairing with everyone you need to get the job done. That might include the designer. That might include the customer. If you don't have a real customer, that would be the product owner to answer product questions. That might include the back-end folks. Janos, I completely agree with you, but I feel like you have to work in a product company, not in a software house, where you change, where you change projects often and you work with new people every time. I agree. Yep, you're right. That is not the same thing. That is not working as a team. That's more like delivery of code as a service. So I agree. You're right. That's not what I'm talking about. Do check out trunk-based development and keep that in the sort of the back of your head, because there may come a time when you are not doing this contracting, like, do a little bit here, do a little bit here for this client, that client, that client. And in that case, pull requests do make sense. But I would say that's less than ideal. Keep it in the back of your head. Some learning for the future. All right, we are getting somewhere. And because now I have finally gotten the method I wish I had at the beginning. Score killer features, where it says score is filter the elements, looking for a particular path and seeing if it contains what we're searching for. Filtering down to those and then reducing those by combining their weights. So I'm inclined to say let's now put this here, where this is going to be desire and this is going to be desires. I predict this will stay green. And one more. This is going to be the problem, and we're searching for the problems. Okay, I'm liking this key path business. I just didn't know how it worked. There. And now I believe I have something which is it's intention revealing, and it has no duplication with the fewest elements. So instead of having lots of extensions of this and that and the other thing, I have a helper method, which is what I wanted. This is approvable, not approvable, test supported refactoring. So I'm going to commit this. Yeah. Awesome. All right. I am happy with this. Thank you to both people who made the suggestions that got me started down the right path. You know, I should also mention that in a client, in a software house where you're a contractor and you're working for various clients at different times, yes, pull requests, keep those. Unless you actually worked together. See, this is where there would be potential business and political tension between the two companies, the company that's shipping the product and the company that's providing software, is that I would really say, you know what, work together, people. Work together in an ensemble, not solo. Where people would scream about that would be saying, well, how do we know we're contracting these people? Shouldn't they go off and do the work and give it to us? And I'd say that is an ineffective way to work based on the faulty notion of scattering and gathering. Let me point you to, if you go to the company that I work for, Industrial Logic, we are a coaching company. And we go to the blog. So and we've got a few blog posts. I'm going to see if I can't write a blog post here. And scatter gather. This is the one. This is this blog post by my colleague Tim. I'll put the link up here. Worth reading. Is the idea that every sort of individual is supposed to contribute a piece of the software. And you do this by splitting up all the tasks and say, you go do this, you go do this, and hey, you, contractor, you go do this, and that's your job. And then you pull it all together. Tim's blog post explores the idea that this is appealing and ineffective. It is super common. Most people think this is the way it works. And in fact, experience and research shows otherwise, that it is problematic. It would be much better to not work in this way. Something else to explore. Anyway, I'm very happy with the results here. We are now able to score desires, problems, and killer features. You know what? I think tomorrow I'm gonna wrap this up today. This has been a shorter session, but a good refactoring session. Because here I've got like in the tests, I have proof that I'm just trying to read what's happening here. Hang on a second. Extract. Wait, that's not where I want to go. It's the answer accumulator. Wrong test. Here we go. I've got the tests showing that I can take different entries that have like different weighted answers, and they supply different, in this case, killer features. And then we say, what's the score of killer feature number 2? Why it's this one plus that one. So I can now do this. I think the next step, probably tomorrow at the same time, I will keep going to say I would like now to get the scores for each of these. And that will probably be the end of my TDD for this, because that was the ultimate outcome I wanted. So let me wrap this up for today. And thank you for joining. I appreciate even with the small crowd, the interaction is really good. Thank you for that. And for the rest of you who are watching this on YouTube, as I said, subscribe to my channel so that you get informed when I post new stuff. And you can find me on Twitter. Look for Quality Coding on the YouTubes. I've got the links, as you can see behind me. But otherwise, have a great day. I hope you can come again tomorrow. All right. Take care.